Hi everybody, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create custom location spawn events to spawn items into places of your choice on your DayZ map. So things like this. Here you see we've got a small air traffic control tower at the end of the airfield on Krasnostav. There's a truck I've spawned in on the airfield. There's an M4 I've spawned in. There's a bear, a pet bear I've spawned in. And there is a NPC who should be alive, but I left him there too long, and I guess he starved to death. So, but when you do it, you'll find. And what I've done is I've created some example files that you can download, and then you can copy and paste the relevant bits into your relevant XMLs. Restart your server, and then you can go to Krasnostav. You can see these, and you go, "Oh yeah, wow, it does work." First off, though, credit where's credit due. It all goes to Balshad. So Balshad, you might know him from Don Sibley's server, has created a Discord where he's pulled together all of his knowledge on XML modding for PlayStation, Xbox and PC, and there's some other types of modding as well, and laid it out in a very simple manner. So you can go through and you can read things and you can learn and you can go through his tutorial. So in the description below this video, you'll find excuse me, a link to Balshad's Discord. Go and join it. You will also find a link to Balshad's PayPal. Throw him, I don't know, a couple of bucks, enough for, you know, a posh coffee or something like that, because this Discord is incredibly useful. Honestly, incredibly useful. So what we're going to do is, if we scroll down in his Discord, we can go through to making events. And this is the channel that shows you how you can create a custom event to spawn an item or something of your choice onto the DayZ map wherever you like. And so let's go through some of the basics first that the Balshad explains. The first thing is that the name of the event is important. It must start with either vehicle, static, loot, item, infected, or animal. I didn't know this. And this is probably why for weeks and weeks, if not months, when I was trying to create custom events to spawn stuff in, sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't, because I guess sometimes I was putting the wrong name in. So if you want to spawn another truck in, your custom event, say, would be vehicle truck 4, but it must start with vehicle. If you wanted to spawn in a custom building, it would be static building 12 or something like that. If you want to spawn in a backpack, it would be loot backpack 15, you know. And if you don't put the right name on the front of the event, it doesn't work. And what Balshad does, he gives you some examples of what you've got to do. So rather than reading through what he's written, let's jump on over and look at these examples. So in the description below the video, you'll find a link to my GitHub and my depository for these example snippets. So what I'd like you to do is follow that link, and then you click on the code button and you download the zip, unpack the files, and then open them up in your favorite text editor, whether that be Notepad, highly recommend. And what you'll find is this sort of thing. So event snippet. So here's the first event. So event name, static building 1. So let's go through the critical things here. So the critical thing is that the event is named static to start off with, because it's spawning in a building. And I've put 1 on it just to identify it. We only want to spawn in 1, so we've got 1, min, max 1. Lifetime is very, very long, because I want this to exist on the server for a long time. And then if we go down to child, you'll see there's no loot min and loot max. So in this particular case, it won't spawn any loot, but we've got max 1 and min 1, which means it will spawn in 1 of the land, military, air traffic controller, small. So that's the first thing you've got to do. So you create an event like that with the item you want to spawn in, how many you want to spawn in. If we had 3 spawn points, you know, it would spawn in 3, but this is only 1. And we make sure we've got that name correct. So critical. And then the next thing is you have to create the coordinates for this, and this goes in CFG event spawn. So you'll find in the other snippet, the CFG event spawn snippet, you'll find that thing which says event name equals static building 1. So you see it matches that name there. And then I've put an X coordinate and a Z coordinate, and then you've got the rotation. Now, if you're wondering where you get these from, you get these from the I Survive map. So if you go anywhere, so all of these examples here, if you spawn them in, they spawn in at Krasno airfield, northeast of Krasnostav. Ooh. And if you just hold your cursor somewhere on the map, if you look in the bottom of the screen, you'll see it's coming up with coordinates. But if you just type Control-C, it then copies those coordinates to your clipboard. So then we can go to our event spawn snippet, paste those coordinates in, and then you've got your X and your Z. So the way it works is X is kind of, I guess, is it horizontal? And Y is actually vertical, so that's up and down. So we don't worry about vertical. The game sorts vertical out for us. It puts stuff on the ground, so we don't worry about that. And Z would be left to right or right up and down. No, I can't quite think at the moment. Anyway, but X and Z are the important ones, and A is the rotation, so you can rotate stuff to make it fit your particular location. And as Bauschert says, if you do decide to rotate stuff, make sure you have 6 digits, because apparently if you don't, stuff randomly can turn around on when you do a server restart, which isn't much of a problem with some things. But if, say, you were trying to create a base made up of different buildings and walls and things like that, you could end up with the walls turning around and not being correct. But we'll cover that in a different video. So there we go. So we've got our event there, static builder mon. We've got our location, which goes in CVG event spawns, and then that's good to go then. And you'll notice that we've also got the other events here. So we've got vehicle, truck, CRAS again. So it starts with vehicle. That's very, very important. And then if we go down to look at the child, the thing that this event spawns in, it spawns in the orange truck. Then if we go to the CFG event spawn snippet, there is the coordinates for it. And then we've also got ones for the M4A1 as well, the gun. Now, it's important to remember that any vehicles that you spawn in, or guns that you spawn in, anything that can have something inside it or attached to it, what it has attached to it or inside it when it spawns will depend on your spawnable types file. Okay, so if you've set your vehicles in your spawnable types file to spawn in with all the wheels on and a battery in it and loot in the back, that sort of stuff, that's how they'll spawn in when you do a custom one. If you haven't, they'll just spawn in with the random stuff. Same with the guns as well. So for example, on my server, all my guns spawn in with a full magazine and random attachments on them as per the game. So whenever you do a custom spawn, whenever I do a custom spawn, that's how it will spawn in. On your server, if it's vanilla, so you haven't changed the spawnable types, the gun will spawn in with whatever the randomness that the game wants to. Now, the other two items that spawn in, the bear and the NPC, are a bit different. So you'll notice here that we've got item bear 1, and this spawns in that bear like that. Now, you can spawn animals in a couple of different ways. You can spawn them in as an animal. If you let's put that to one side for one minute. I'll do a different video about that. But if you spawn in an animal as an item, as I have here, when it spawns in with no intelligence, with no AI. So it literally just stands there and doesn't do anything. So it's almost like a pet you've created. But it's quite a fun thing to do, because it means you could spawn in like cows or pigs. You could create like a zoo or a farmyard, where you could create a source of food near your base. You could almost do it like you had a farm, because every time you killed the pig or the cow to eat it, it would then spawn in another one afterwards. So that would be quite a cool thing to do. Now the NPC we've spawned in, Survivor Dennis, when they spawn in, again, this is basically just a person who stands there. They don't have any artificial intelligence, but they are still a person, so you can kill them. They will die of starvation or cold or whatever like that. And you can add things to the NPCs. Again, I will do a separate video about that. Or if you go to Balshad's Discord, he shows you how to do it as well. So to try this out, all you need to do, as I said, is download the event snippet, download your events file, and copy and paste them into the top. Download your CFG spawns file and copy the CFG spawns file snippet into the top and restart your server. If you're not sure about how to do that, in this case I'm going to show you Nitrado. So go to your Nitrado interface, go to the web interface for the particular server you want to work on, go to the file browser, and you want to go into the missions folder. Now if you're on a Chernarus folder, Chernarus map, it'll say Chernarus. If it's Livonia, it'll say Enoch. If you're on PC, you've got to dig down a little bit further to get to the missions file. Go into the relevant missions file, DayZ offline Chernarus, and then CFG event spawns. So that's the one you want to download in the kind of main directory. And then the other one is the events, which is in the DB folder and which is there in events. And you would download that, open them up, copy and paste the bits over, save the files, and then if you go down there it says upload, and you would just upload the new files over the top of the existing ones. And then restart the server, make your way to Krasnostav, and as I say, you'll get a survivor who is actually alive. Well, will he be alive? He might not be alive by the time you get there. You might have died of starvation or exposure. You'll see a bear just standing there, an M4A1, there'll be a truck, and then you'll see a small air traffic control tower. And believe me, it is very, very simple. And big thanks to Balshad for putting this stuff all together. It kind of just inspired me to get into more custom item spawning, because I got very frustrated with it. And I think it was all down to the fact that I was naming the events wrong, because I don't think I've ever read anywhere that it had to be a specific name. Or maybe I did and I'm just dumb and I missed it out. And hopefully by going through this and showing you how easy it is to do, you can start to, your grey cells can start ticking over. And Balshad's got lots of good examples. If you scroll down, he has actually put together collections of XML files to give you custom, like racetrack days and things like that around the airfield. But you think, well, okay, like the Tulga charity hill climb event. You got to think, well, actually, you could create custom events to spawn in the vehicles, along. And this is on Xbox and PlayStation. You could spawn in the vehicles at the bottom of the hill at Tulga, and they could have fuel in the back. You could also spawn in, a water pump, because when you spawn in water pumps, they spawn in ready to go, so that people could get the fuel out of the back and fuel them, and then start driving up and down the hill doing the competition. Really is, the limit is just your imagination and the time and commitment you're willing to put in to code these custom events, and also to test them as well. Because one of the trickier things, I will admit, on Xbox and PlayStation is testing whether your event works. I'm very, very lucky in the fact that although I don't have a PC that can play DayZ, I do have a shadow PC. When you see at the bottom of my screen, we've got kind of two search bars. That's because I've got two desktops here. I've got my shadow PC, which is in the cloud, which runs DayZ and enables me to run a local server, so I can test these things very, very quickly, and I can run PC DayZ. And then what you see down here, this is my existing laptop, which is an old laptop which can't play DayZ to save its life. So I'm very lucky with that I can test that out. So there we go. Hopefully you found that useful. Try those example test files. If you have found it useful, hit the like button. Again, hit subscribe if you want to see more of the same. And again, thank you to Balshad. Join his Discord. Throw him a couple of quids on his PayPal. Yeah, there we go. That's enough from me, and I'll see you again soon.